Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, the Drafted Up Podcast. Today, episode 100 of the show, milestone episode. We got Merc and K-Dog joining us a little bit later to do a special mock draft as we break up our divisional breakdowns. That's Nick, though. I'm Theo. Like I said, this is the Drafted Up Podcast. How you doing today, Nicholas?
Doing good. Episode 100, baby. Big episode. Pretty hyped. Got our boys with us here. About to run a mock, dude.
Yeah, so some news we'll touch on before we jump in on that. We pre-recorded the last two episodes. We just had a lot of stuff going on, so we missed the James Cook signing, getting the extension there in Buffalo. I think that's great for him. It did boost him up. I had him in the same tier as James Conner and Alvin Kamara. I still do, but now, like, if I was looking at those guys on the clock, I'd probably lean more towards Cook because he got the extension, even though he's still in that three-headed running back room. I lean more towards him because Buffalo is actually shelling out the money for him, and, you know, he's on track for 72 touchdowns this year.
Yeah, dude, that math adds up. I seen that meme. He finished RB8 in PPR leagues and non-PPR leagues. He had a ton of touchdowns, so even if the touchdowns regress a little bit, I'm still in on Cook. I think he's going to have a mondo year in Buffalo now with the money he got. They're going to use him consistently, especially in Dynasty. He got the huge bump now because he's locked in that offense for 3 to 4 years. I'm in a James Cook now. He's a borderline running back one for me.
Yep, I agree. And then Quinshon Judkins, all charges look like they've been dropped. He should be signing with Cleveland any day now. Cleveland also signed Isaiah Bond immediately after he was cleared of all of his allegations. So how's that make you feel about Judkins? You moving him back up into that RB2 range where you had him pre-allegations, or is he take a little
not
hit?
As high.
Like, yeah.
I had him like RB 16, 17 before any of this, just right at the start of camp. I was really in on Judkins, and I'm still pretty much in, but I got him in like the Caleb Johnson range now. I don't think he's going to be the RB1 to start the year because he's missed camp. He's still not even on the team technically. So I think Ford's going to be the starting running back for the first couple weeks, but talent's going to take over, dude. Judkins is so much more talented than James Ford. He brings so much more to an offense. I think by week 4 or 5, Judkins is going to be the RB1 on that team. So I got him at 27, I think, just off the top of my head.
I was going to say, I had him at 26 prior to the allegations, and then I kind of just dropped him into the 50s, just put him somewhere. Now I'll bump up. I agree. I'll have him right around where I have Caleb Johnson, Jalen Warren in the mid to early 30s. And then Rashee Rice. News came out that his NFL meeting isn't going to be till September 30th, which is right in the middle of the season. So the Chiefs will have him for the first 4 weeks for sure. And then we don't know where it goes after that. There was rumors of a 10-game. I think they end up settling still. I'm still on 6, so that would have him miss Buffalo. If he gets 4, his first game back would be Buffalo. So the mystery around the Rashee Rice suspension does concern me for his fantasy value, because if he does get 8 games, you're looking at then having him come back right around the fantasy playoffs. How confident are you to put him in your lineup? But if he does get 6, so that's really like, when does it become comfortable to draft Rashee Rice now? Like, I'm actually less interested in taking him than I was before, because I figured the suspension was going to be the first 6 games of the year. Now it's somewhere in the middle of the year.
Yeah, so if he plays the first 4 weeks, that's LA, Philly, New York, Baltimore. And then their bye week's week 10. So if he gets 8 games, he's coming back week 13 then. That's usually the first week of fantasy playoffs. I would not comfortably start a man coming back from an 8-game suspension week 13 in the playoffs. That's just asking too much of someone who hasn't played. 6 games would be a little bit more ideal because you get him 2 weeks before the playoffs start, so he has time to warm up. But yeah, no, I'm kind of out on him more so now because you don't know what you're going to get. Sure, he's going to start hot those first 4 weeks, and it's going to be glorious probably. He's probably going to be close to wide receiver 1. But after that, it's a huge question mark. But there's even a chance he doesn't get suspended at all this year. That's still a possibility.
Yeah.
And the suspension comes next year. And then you just got Rashee Rice free in the 5th, 6th round, 7th round. And he's going to play all year. So it's definitely a give and take, and it's a huge risk to draft him. But, man, you play fantasy football to win. But this one I'm kind of feeling out on. I'm usually all in on risky situations. This one doesn't have good betting odds for me, brother.
Yeah. So does that give a boost to Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelce for you?
Yeah, I bumped Kelce up to tight end 4, and I put Worthy up to like the back end of the 20s. I had him like mid 30s. I wasn't high on Worthy, but I have him, I think, like 28, 29 now. So I'm more so in on Worthy going forward than I was before. So,
okay.
But Kelce would be the target. I also bumped Pacheco up. I put Pacheco, he jumped like from 30 to 25. He's still not an RB2, but I think Pacheco's in line for a good season.
Yeah, I bumped Pacheco a little bit before the Rashee Rice news. I had him at like 35, and I bumped him to 28, and he might move up a spot or two, but I think he does give you good floor value. But yeah, Kelce, I think could be a good trade target. Same with Worthy. If Rice is there the first 4 weeks, which he will be, those guys take a dip in production most likely, and then there's a chance the owners might be a little peeved with them, and you might be able to try to manipulate a trade to get them if they do start off slow. So
for sure,
that's something to keep in mind there. And then non-fantasy related news, Nick Scorton, rookie edge rusher for Carolina out of Texas A&M. He had a collapsed lung, so he's going to end up missing some time. It was ended up being a little more serious than they thought. We like Scorton coming out. We were a little higher on him than consensus, so hopefully for him that turns around. He's okay and he's able to play this year, but that's just something to monitor real life wise, as we will talk about the NFC South in our next episode. And we also have our Fantasy Darlings episode coming up. I think we will have that in between the NFC South and NFC West episodes, and those will just be our flag planning guys that like we're confident in, we're drafting, like the guys we're confident we want on our team, just players we think going forward this year are going to be really good for fantasy. Like you could just take confidently. Some might have questions, some might be unproven, some might be trying to prove themselves again. So we'll see. That's something to look forward to.
For sure. And they're not going to be guys like, I'm planting my flag on Josh Allen as a quarterback you want. They're going to be guys that are a few question marks here and there. It's not going to be the guys that are going to be studs, but have a chance to really perform well and outperform their ADP.
Yeah, like I could say Drake London and Devon Achane for me because I have Achane as my RB2 and I have London as my wide receiver 4, but those are guys going late first to mid second. Like that's not really a questionable situation. Like obviously they're good football players, and you're planting your flag, that's just a cop out really.
Yeah, like I'm not even going to plant a flag on Christian McCaffrey. Like yeah, he's got all these question marks, but you know what you're getting with McCaffrey if he's healthy, dude. So I'm excited for our Fantasy Darlings episode, though, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Merc, K-Dog, join the show. Welcome in.
Welcome, friends. The first ever guest of the Drafted Up podcast.
Yeah, so K-Dog, Merc, we've brought them up on the show. They're not only just our friends, they're supporters of the show. We appreciate your guys' support. We love you guys. So thank you for joining us here for this special 100th episode as we do a little mock draft, a little more fun, where it's just not Nick and I, and we can get some non-AI computer picks in here
Much
on
appreciated.
Sleeper.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't have it any other way, though, for sure. You guys are the perfect two guests. No way. The AI is garbage. We've seen them fuck up that rookie draft constantly. Constantly fuck up the
just
rookie
drafting
draft.
guys we never heard of.
How is this happening?
Yeah.
No, I'm excited to have some guests on here.
Yeah. So how are you guys doing today?
Just happy to be here.
Yeah, it's doing good. Yeah, it's good to be on.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
K-Dog, before we jump into this mock, I hear you're a big Dubby guy.
Huge W guy. I was hoping you'd bring that up. I got my stash right here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got it all right here, baby.
Yeah, let's shout out our OG affiliate, W Energy. It's clean, better energy, jitterless, no artificial flavors, no dyes, none of that nonsense. It is crash-free energy. You can put it in water. I've recently started putting it in lemonades, and it is delightful. They got a ton of flavors. They collab with content creators, and they also have a collab with the Anime of the Year, Solo Leveling. They dropped a new flavor, yuzu fruit. They got the interesting s'mores flavor, which, you can put in milk. So cool stuff there. Go to W Energy. They have an app. Search it up there in your app store, or you can go to their site, w.gg. Use the code Drafted Up for a cool 10% off your purchase anytime, every time you order from W. Use that code. Be better with W Energy. Eat that dub. Yeah. K-Dog, what's your favorite flavor?
My favorite flavor is gotta be. See, I'm a big anime guy. I know you guys aren't huge on the anime, but I did watch Solo Leveling. Solo Leveling's fantastic. But I like the Solo Leveling. What is this? The Shadow Monarch Surge. It's a blue raspberry grape flavor. That
Okay,
is
so
my number one flavor.
you have the Solo Leveling one that I don't have. I have the blue tropical punch.
You got this bad boy. That's what you got.
Yeah. Oh, you have that too. Look at that. Yeah. That is.
Of course he's got it.
That's a
He's
good
the
one.
guy.
Yeah.
He's the
Famous
Dubby plug.
W.
They're both fantastic. Those are my top 2 flavors for sure. Those are great.
Rock on. All right. Draft screen is shared. K-Dog will be drafted from the 1 spot. Merc will be at 3. I'm sitting pretty at 8. And then Nick will be over at the 11 spot.
Yes, sir.
All right, gentlemen. You want this on light mode?
Please
yes,
don't.
please. Yeah, mind me, please.
I will leave.
I will leave, Merc said. I'm out.
Sunglasses on, we'll leave.
Oh man.
Oh, hate it.
That was real delayed.
That is a bad look. Bad look for Sleeper, the bright mode.
Yeah. All right, let's
that's
start
better.
this draft up. Typical PPR, like we always do, 12 teams, 2 flex, 4 bench, so 12 rounds here. K-Dog on the clock first. What you thinking here, buddy?
There's not too much to think about with this one. There's not too many directions I would go here other than Jamar Chase, so
Hey.
gonna have to just lock that one in.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat with you, dude. It's got to be Chase. Like, if it's not Chase, you can make the case for Bijan, but in my eyes, PPR league, you got to go the receiver. You got to go
For
Chase.
sure. Oh yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Bijan Robinson went second, which I think is the route to go there as well, putting Merc up at 3. What's your thoughts here, buddy? I'm sure as the Atlanta fan, you were hoping Bijan fell to you.
I was hoping Bajan made the fall there. Tempted to go for Barkley. Haven't done Barkley yet in a mock, but I think we're just going to go with CeeDee Lamb. I don't do
Okay.
great receivers too often in the first, but we'll give it a shot.
I like Lamb there at 3. Jefferson's got the issue with the hamstring going on there, so I do understand leaning Lamb over Jefferson there. Barkley to team 4, Jefferson going 5, Gibbs 6, and then team 7 goes Amon-Ra St. Brown, putting me on the clock. I was kind of hoping for Amon-Ra because that's not a guy I really ever get a chance to take and get shares of, but he's unfortunately gone. So I'm leaning 2 ways here. I'm looking at the young receivers, Puka, Malik Neighbors, Nico Collins, Brian Thomas Jr., but I think there's enough of them that I think one of them could make it back to me. So I'm kind of leaning running back. So I am going to go with Derrick Henry. I'm just going to take the production. It's a high-powered offense. It's going to score a ton. They want to run the ball. And I have Henry a little bit over at McCaffrey and Genty in my rankings there. So I'm going to take Derrick Henry here and try to go for a hero RB approach early on. That's at least the strategy I'm looking for here. Puka Nacua next. And then Team 10 takes Devon Achane, putting Nick on the clock here at 11.
I mean, running back 1 still on the board, and you had a chance to take him there, TJ. You could have taken McCaffrey, but you took Derrick Henry.
No.
You took the wrong old running back. But no, I'm in the same boat you with the receivers. Like, Neighbors, Collins, Thomas are still there. I'm guaranteed to get one of those 3 guys, so I have McCaffrey over Genty. I just think he's more of a league winner if he stays healthy, so I'm going to lock in McCaffrey like pretty much every mock draft I've done from the back end of this year.
Another day, another Nick drafts Christian McCaffrey in a mock draft. Genty rounds out round 1, and then Team 12 starts round 2 with Nico Collins, putting Nick back on the clock here.
Oh.
All right, so Neighbors did fall, but he's been dealing with a couple injuries. I'm not as high on Brian Thomas as most people. I still have him as a wide receiver 1, but towards the back end. I got Drake London at wide receiver like 4 or 5 this season. I'm really high on Atlanta's offense with Penix just slinging the rock. So I'm going to lock in Drake London here.
I was really hoping London made it back to me to pair him up with Henry, but that's a good pick there. Malik Neighbors does follow, and then Brock Bowers to Team 9 to pair with Puka Nacua. Making this really easy for me. Brian Thomas Jr. still on the board. I think he's a superstar. I think there is wide receiver 1 overall potential with him. It's just all a matter of how the Jacksonville offense runs. But let's remember, Chris Godwin was wide receiver 2 prior to his injury. Liam Cohen was the offensive coordinator there in Tampa Bay. He's now the head coach in Jacksonville. Brian Thomas Jr. was a top 5 wide receiver last year, rookie phenom. So I'm just going to take my guy, BTJ, to pair with Derrick Henry, and that's a perfect start for me here. I couldn't be happier.
Duval. Ugh, still get bad vibes, brother.
Hey,
I hate
Nick
it so
Sirianni
much.
gives bad vibes, and the Eagles have done wonders with that guy. Josh Jacobs, A.J. Brown, Lamar Jackson, first quarterback off the board, and then Lad McConkey putting Merck back on the clock here. He took CeeDee Lamb round 1. Where are you looking at here for round 2, big guy?
Big running back guy. I like to go running back earlier. I like the wide receivers like in the middle of the late round. So we're gonna go Jonathan Taylor.
Hey, I think Jonathan Taylor is like, even if he's in a bad offense this year, I think he's still so safe, dude. He's so explosive. He has these huge big time runs. He's very Saquon Barkley to me. I don't really care what offense he's in. He's going to produce a ton.
Yeah. I've brought up my only worries with Taylor is Indianapolis being really bad and just not scoring a ton, and he doesn't have a ton of passing game work. But if Indy is an 8-win team like they were the year before, Jonathan Taylor was a big part of that stretch run, winning them games. So I'm comfortable with him as an RB1. Josh Allen, the pick after putting K-Dog on the clock here, back-to-back picks. Where are you looking at here, buddy?
Well, I mean, the potential is there for the triple stack with Chase, Burrow, and then Chase Brown. I don't think that's the direction I'm leaning. I've leaned the direction of taking Jamar Chase first. I have the first pick in our home league. I've always taken Chase first. And then I'm of the mindset that the talent for running back falls off really fast after the first few rounds. So I tend to go back-to-back running back here. It'd be interesting to do Burrow to do that triple stack, but I don't know if I'm sold on that. So I'm gonna go Bucky Irving and Chase Brown, and we'll see. That kind of forces someone to take Burrow in these next rounds. So. We'll see.
And you'll never hear us say anything bad about Bucky Irving and Chase Brown. Those are big drafted up guys. Nick and I have been on the hype train for both of them for a while. So I do love that back-to-back pick there. You're off to a great start. Jackson Smith and Jigba, the following pick there. And now Merck back on the clock. Who are you looking at to pair with JT and CeeDee Lamb?
Well, I appreciate K-Dog keeping Chase Brown to the ADP level.
I agree.
I know
Much appreciated.
Bump him up into the
Man, we're just
round,
taking pot shots at me here.
Totally messes up the ADP for everybody. Chase Brown was the guy I was looking at, so I got excited when K-Dog said he wouldn't go for the triple stack, so we're going to go Kyron Williams instead.
Nice, dude. I'm
so
high on Kyron, dude. He's so slept on. The last couple years, double-digit touchdowns. To get him in the 3rd round, I think, is a steal. Especially since they paid him, he's going to produce, and they're going to use him a bunch. He's still the RB1 in LA for the next multiple years. Kyron's a sleeper at this point in fantasy.
Yeah, this seems to be where the range he's been going the last 2 years. He's always going in the 2nd to 3rd round, even though he's a consistent top 7 running back every year. And I do hold him sort of in the same bucket as Chase Brown, even though I've Brown much higher on my rankings. I've Brown 5, but I've Kyron in my top 10. So I think that's a great pairing with Jonathan Taylor. Tyreek Hill, Garrett Wilson, Trey McBride, James Cook, the following picks, putting me on the clock here. I could go Marvin Harrison and just pair up the 2 rookies from last year, but that's not where I'm looking. I think I'd rather go with T. Higgins if I would take a receiver, but I'm feeling frisky. And I'm just all in on Amari and Hampton right now. The Najee Harris injury concerns me. I don't think there's a chance Najee Harris even sniffs getting an abundance of carries. I think Hampton, from the jump is going to keep this job. And we know Greg Roman, running backs, produce a ton. So I think there's a good chance we're looking at a 1,200-yard runner, a double-digit touchdown guy, and a guy who could pull in 40 catches. So I'm going to go the upside. I know I said I was going to try to go hero RB with Henry, but Hampton here is too much for me to turn down. So that's where I'm going to pair with Derrick Henry and BTJ.
That's a phenomenal pick. J.K. Dobbins had 900 yards in that system last year in only 13 games. Amari Hampton was very close to Judkins in my eyes in this draft class. I don't think Najee's going to really be out there doing too much this season. I think Hampton's the RB1 in LA this whole season, and it's going to be a phenomenal year.
Yeah. After Hampton, Team 9 goes Jaden Daniels. They have 2 onesies in their first 3 picks. Daniels, Bowers to pair with Nakua. George Kittle next, putting you on the clock. Who are you looking at here for London and McCaffrey to pair with?
I was really hoping Mario Hampton fell, but I kind of knew you were going to take him. I had it on the horizon because we do a bunch of mocks together.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen T. Higgins fall this far in a mock draft. His ADP is 30, which is the beginning of the 3rd round. I'm at the back end of the 3rd here. I've never seen T. Higgins here. I love T. Higgins. He's wide receiver 12 this year, so wide receiver 1. I got my RB1, McCaffrey, and then 2 wide receiver 1s this season. I love how I'm sitting here.
Yeah, T. Higgins, that is an interesting fall there. And then Team 12 takes Joe Burrow.
There he goes.
To break up any chance
Well,
of
you
you
could've had
getting
the
a
stack
Burrow
right there.
Higgins stack and preventing K-Dog from getting it potentially. And then they went Terry McLaurin, putting you back on. Were you looking Burrow if they didn't take him there? Okay.
I was. Because I figured Jalen Hurts would go there, I'm not going to lie. But I'm very adamant on taking the last big 5 quarterback, being Allen, Lamar, Burrow, Daniels, and Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the last quarterback on the board out of those 5. And you know how I love Jalen Hurts. I love Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
He's arguably the safest out of Burrow, Daniels, and him. Allen and Lamar are obviously locks, but those 3 guys, I look at Jalen Hurts as the best out of those 3.
Yeah, death taxes and Jalen Hurts getting double-digit rushing touchdowns. Mike
Hell
Evans,
yeah, dude.
Marvin Harrison next up on the board. I was kind of hoping one of them fell to me, as I would have loved to pair Mike Evans, especially with Brian Thomas. Gives me a little bit of a safer, more consistent wide receiver. So now I'm in a pickle. Running backs on the board. Not crazy about Breece Hall or Alvin Kamara or Ken Walker. Devontae Adams, I'm worried about the Matt Stafford situation there. Rashee Rice has the suspension. So
This is a weird group of running backs. Like, it's guys that can produce. Like, Breece Hall has produced. Kamara has produced for years. Walker has produced when healthy. Chuba Hubbard's been kind of consistent the last couple of years. James Conner, but none of them seem like fun picks this year. They all seem like whatever. Yeah. I'll just make it at some point.
Yeah, they come with that baked-in question mark where, like, yeah, they could be a top 12 running back, but they could also be a low-end, like, 20 to 24 range, and that's not what you're looking for. And I have a good set of running backs with Henry and Hampton, so I'm not really forcing that issue. So I am going to get a steady guy to pair with Brian Thomas Jr., and I'm taking one of my favorite guys to draft, and that's Courtland Sutton from Denver. I've talked about how high I am on Denver, and Bo Nix taking the next step, and Courtland Sutton being the top guy there. So if Denver's offense is going to take that next step forward, Courtland Sutton's going to be a big part in that. He's double-digit touchdown ability. He's a guy who's going to haul in 80 catches and 1,100 yards. So I got a good floor with Sutton to pair with BTJ at wide receiver. Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara, Rashee Rice, Sam Laporta back into the 4th going here. Team 4, putting Merck back on the clock. Where are you going here, buddy?
I think we're going to still stick with running back here, and we're going to go with Canadian Chuba Hubbard.
Okay.
Whoa, fun fact.
Chubby Hooby.
The fact that there was only 10 picks between George Kittle and Sam Laporta kind of geeks me out. Those guys should not be drafted that close to each other.
Yeah, like, I agree. Like, I'm more comfortable with Laporta. We brought this up on the NFC North show. If he was going, like, 2 rounds later, like the 6th, 7th round, yeah, I'm really in on Laporta, but, like, I can't bring myself to take Sam Laporta over Chuba Hubbard, James Conner, and these guys that are still on the board. Devontae Adams. So K-Dog's up. He's got Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, Jamar Chase. 2 picks here. Where are you going, buddy?
I really want to go Adams, but there's the question mark at quarterback. But as far as Stafford goes, everyone knows how tough he is. So I feel like there's no scenario where he doesn't come back and is the starting quarterback for them.
I agree.
So I feel pretty safe taking Adams, and then that fills out my wide receiver 2 and my running back 2. So now I just have to kind of worry about getting some onesie positions going. Not a huge fan of, I mean, you guys know my tight end, so I can get him a little later, hopefully. But so I think I'm going to try to snag another running back while there's still some value left at that position.
Yeah.
So I think I'll go Kenneth Walker then there. And that'll pretty much have me pretty set on running backs.
That's smart to go running back there because there's 24 picks but before you pick again or something like that. all the running backs are going to be gone. Like there's going to be a huge drop off tier wise. Do you prefer picking like 1 or 12? Do you like having the sandwich picks, or do you like picking in the middle?
I love the sandwich picks.
Gotcha.
I like the strategy that brings to the game.
Mm-hmm.
It lets you kind of plan ahead, like you said. So I have that many picks until my next pick. I got to look and see where the next drop off is going to be and get the value while I can.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
I agree with K-Dog. I prefer drafting, first 3 picks or last 3 picks because you kind of manipulate the ADP because you can kind of see how things are falling out. So you can make that jump and take a guy a little bit higher, and it's okay because there's no chance they usually make it back to you. So that's where I am as well. TJ Hawkinson, the pick after tight ends going early here, kind of strange. Putting Merck on the clock, Chuba Hubbard, Kyron Williams, Jonathan Taylor, CD Lamb. I assume you're looking at receiver here.
I do want to go back to receiver. I'm torn between DJ Moore and Devonta Smith, but I also see DK sitting here. So I think we're going to try that route and see where that ends up. With DJ Moore, you just don't know so many pieces of the pie there, lots of mouths to feed. Let's go to DK and we'll hope for the best.
Mm-hmm. It's almost the opposite scenario between the two guys. Like DK is the offense in Pittsburgh, and DJ Moore is surrounded by so many other talented guys.
Yeah, DJ Moore and Devonta Smith.
Beckham, so.
What was that, Merck?
I think they signed Odell Beckham yesterday, didn't they?
Oh, I did not hear.
Or did I fall for some crazy...
did you get got? I didn't hear.
I think you got got.
He got one guide.
Uh-oh.
I did hear that there are multiple teams, quote for quote, multiple teams that are interested in Odell. So I kind of expect him to sign at some point. I just don't know if it'll happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, DK Metcalf, he does have a higher ceiling than the other 2 guys you brought up in Devonta Smith and DJ Moore. Moore and Smith give you a good floor play, but you got this wide receiver 1 potential guy in CeeDee Lamb, so you could afford to take that shot on a DK Metcalf. He does bring a little volatility, but he does have much higher upside than Moore and Smith bring you, so I dig that pick.
For sure, and America might have fell for something, but Aaron Rodgers has come out and said...
I fell for something, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers has said he's in communications with Odell, so the connection is there for sure.
That'll be interesting. Pittsburgh definitely needs to get another wide receiver.
Another weapon, for sure.
Whether it be Odell or Amari Cooper, someone there. I brought up some volatility, DK Metcalf, so I want to bring some volatility to my receiving room. I'm looking at those top 3 guys, Jameson Williams, George Pickens, Xavier Worthy. I got J-Mo higher than all of them. I think he has the potential to be a wide receiver 1 just off his just big playability. Pickens, I feel the same, but a little bit lower. I think he's more of a 14 to 15 ceiling guy. Worthy's a wild card, and I don't really want to dive into that because who knows what's going on with Rashee Rice. I don't want to end up taking Xavier Worthy here, and then Rashee Rice gets no suspension, and then I'm sitting on a guy who's now just a at best flex player. So I'm going to play the potential game and take Jameson Williams. I think there's a ton of upside there for him in Detroit, especially with them coming out saying they want to stretch the ball more, and that's more his game than Amon-Ra St. Brown's.
I was looking at Williams and George Pickens, so those are the 2 guys I was eyeing. Hopefully one would fall to me, and George did fall to me. Yep. There's a couple running backs here that I'd be okay taking on the swing to pair with McCaffrey, so I'm going to hold out on running backs because I expect Team 12 to take one of them because they only have Genty, but there's more names in the running back category right now that I'm confident in. I like George. I like Tedero McMillan. I love Jalen Waddle this year. But
would RJ Harvey or David Montgomery been in potential? They were the 2 picks after mine that sandwiched between us.
No, there are running backs like Travion Henderson, Aaron Jones, and DeAndre Swift that I would rather take over those 2 guys. But I'm going to lock in George Pickens here.
All right. George Pickens there. You got a nice receiving room building. Travion Henderson to round out the 5th. And then Travis Hunter, rookie wide receiver from the Jaguars, putting you back on the clock.
So I really wanted Travion Henderson, but that's fine. It is what it is. Aaron Jones is here. He's my RB22, and DeAndre Swift's my 24. But I have him in the same bucket. I'm worried that Jordan Mason's going to be more involved than people realize, and I don't think Roschon Johnson's going to be heavily involved. I think he's going to be the goal line back. He's going to be a situational kind of guy. But I'm going to, it's the ADP thing. I got to take Swift early because he's not going to be there when it comes back around. So I'm going to lock in DeAndre Swift here as my RB2.
Yeah, it's interesting. We don't see a lot of drafts where we're taking DeAndre Swift or Cato took Ken Walker earlier. Those aren't guys we draft a ton of, but the upside's there. Swift, it's his room. I agree with you. I don't think Roshan takes a lot of the work away. He might get touchdown work. Manungai's a 7th-round rookie, so who knows how much involvement he ends up having. And then Ken Walker, he's got the upside to be an RB1. It's just health and how much is Charbonnet involved, but they've come out. They said they want to get Walker involved more in the passing game. So, like, the upside's there. He's a talented back. It's just a ton of question marks around him. But that pick could be a huge payoff. And then having him as his 3rd running back is great, where you're not relying on him too heavily because he's got Chase Brown and Bucky Irving.
Yeah, his running back room's looking way more stacked than mine. I got Swift as my RB2. I'd prefer him as my 3, but he's never not finished as an RB2. His floor is RB21 in full point PPR, so I expect it to be very similar to that, if not better, because of Ben Johnson back with him, and then first time in Chicago.
Yeah. Tetero, McMillan, Aaron Jones, the 2 following picks. I was kind of hoping for Tet or Trevion to make it back to me, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But let's see here. That's your team.
That's a good looking team there, though. Look at that team, Jalen Hurts.
I was confused
baby.
for a second. I was like, did I accidentally pick George Pickens over JMO? All right. Xavier Worthy's still here.
Yeah.
And I
don't
think
hate it
now,
dude.
because like he was in consideration there, and I don't like playing running backs in the flex, and I don't think I'm getting a ton of value here from the guys on the board. So I am going to just eat up volatility. I got Brian Thomas Jr., who's that way, and I have a good floor guy in Sutton, but let's fuck around. I don't draft Worthy a ton, so we'll pair Worthy here in my flex with Jameson Williams and give me a real good foundation with a ton of upside at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, Worthy's a true question mark, dude. That could be a huge payoff at this point. If Rice does get suspended 6-8 games, he's the wide receiver 1 on that team.
Yeah. Baker Mayfield, Patty Mahomes, Jalen Waddle, Isaiah Pacheco. The next pick's putting Merck back on the clock here.
Waddle was the one I was looking at. So we're going to go with another receiver, though. Another guy I like this year, especially with a rookie quarterback, Calvin Ridley.
Oh, dude, I'm so in on Ridley, dude. He had a low-key good season with Will Levis last year. I love Cam Ward. He's going to be a huge step up this year.
Yeah, and that's a perfect pairing with DK. It gives you that guy you can fall back on to be your wide receiver too if, the Aaron Rodgers situation doesn't work out and DK's just kind of hit or miss this year, and you do now have a good fallback with Calvin Ridley, who you can slide into that position because he gives you a really good floor. Cam Ward and him are developing this chemistry. He spoke highly of him, and Cam Ward has just raved about the receiving room there. So he's becoming a great leader, and he's holding these guys to a higher standard. Where Tennessee could be a sneaky fantasy production this year. After Merck went Ridley, Jordan Addison goes, another guy who was suspending, putting K-Dog on the clock here, back-to-back picks.
I was also eyeing up Ridley, so that was a great pick. I really wanted to go wide receiver here, but none of the guys. If I go one, I'd probably go with Dunze here, but still a lot of question marks there. I don't know. I had him on my team last year, obviously, with the rookie, with Caleb Williams as his rookie year. If he's willing to make that step and he's willing to produce, I think Dunze will be right up there with him. I think he'll be his best friend. I just don't know if I want to take him here.
As someone who had a Doomsday last year, do you feel he burnt you at all? Like he didn't live up to his hype?
No, I think that he played fine. I don't think I expected
I agree.
that much out of him. I mean, he was fine in the flex spot.
No, I'm with you.
And he showed flashes. Like he showed that he can take that next step. So
that's what I was looking for.
A young wide receiver, young quarterback.
It's not going to be consistent.
They're growing together,
exactly.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, he kind of get lost in the shuffle because of Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors, how productive and how good they were as the rookies.
For sure.
And Marv falls in sort of the same boat as Rome, but Marv was higher drafted. Like Marvin Harrison burned people, but he had a productive real life year where you see the potential. But like I think people just skew Neighbors and Thomas's production and just expected that from the other two guys, where they just kind of feel jaded by him. But I'm not concerned about a Dunze and Marv going forward, but
Mm-hmm.
so you're not leaning at Dunze here, K-Dog. What's the route you're going?
I was kind of hoping he'd be gone by now so that I didn't have to make this decision, but I've never had Kelsey on my fantasy team before because he always goes so ridiculously high. So he fell this far, so he wasn't the tight end I was eyeing up, but he's here, and I guess I need to take him. I'm willing to ride the Kelsey ride.
I think that's a solid pick, dude. Like, he's not going to be a bum this year. He had almost 100 catches last year in a full point PPR league. His points are going to be built in that offense, especially if Rice misses a bunch of games.
Mm-hmm.
And for the second pick, I, again, kind of wanted to go quarterback at some point here, but there's still a lot of talent left there, so I feel comfortable waiting for that to get back around to me and seeing what's left. I see Quinshawn Judkins here, and with all the allegations dropped against him, I mean, that's pretty much a running back one, perhaps one of the last true running back ones that I'm seeing on the board here.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got to take him here.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I don't think he's going to be the starter right off the bat, but once he takes the rock from Jerome Ford, there's going to be no looking back, dude. Judkins is the man. Mm-hmm. And I know Merck's on the same boat with me about how high we're on Judkins, so I'm so hyped all the stuff got dropped, and he's finally able to clear his head and get back to football at some point.
Merck, was that the guy you were eyeing up there, Quinshawn?
Absolutely. He was in the queue. I had my notes over the draft button.
Chris Olave was the pick after putting you now on the clock. So where are you pivoting?
We're going to stick with running back here, and we're just going to go with Tony Pollard.
Okay. Whoa,
that's a phenomenal
both the Titans
pick.
Offensive guys. The two most productive fantasy options there for Tennessee and Pollard and Ridley.
See, I think it's all right for him to have both because he's not really relying on either of them to be a running back 2 or a wide receiver 2 on his team. They're both just flex guys.
No, I agree. After Merck,
those are like obviously the two best options in Tennessee too, and I believe in Cam Ward, so they both should be productive.
Yeah, after Tony Pollard,
the other option I was looking at.
Oh,
sorry. The other option I was looking at was Caleb Johnson, but I didn't want a Caleb Johnson DK, blend. So
no. Yeah, I think you're better off with Ridley and Pollard.
I agree.
Yeah. Jerry Jeudy, Mark Andrews, Roman Dunze, Caleb Johnson, the following picks. I was kind of hoping Jeudy would make it back to me and just keep building up my receiving room. I'm a little bit higher on Jeudy than most. I trust Joe Flacco and him, and Jeudy was great for the stretch there at the end of the season for fantasy. So I was cool with that. So wide receiver room, I think I'm good at receiver with Myers on the board, good floor guy, but I'm going to lean running back here, just in flex guys. I like Tyrone Tracy. I know Nick thinks Cam Scadaboo is going to be more involved, but I still think Tracy's the better, more consistent talent right now. Cam's got the hamstring issue, so who knows how long that plays a part. And he's still listed as third on the depth chart behind Devin Singletary. I don't think that lasts long. So I'm going to lean Tracy. He's going to be my a bench player, so I can get good value of him when I have to play him. And I like him a little bit more than Brian Robinson just because, Brian Robinson has injury history. So who knows where that goes, and they love Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, so that could be a 3-headed race there at running back. So I'm going to take the shot on Tracy. He's a guy I've always been in on, and he's a guy I don't draft a ton, so I'm going to see how this works here as my third running back to pair with two potential studs in Hampton and Derrick Henry.
It's not a terrible pick. I don't hate it. I have him and Scadaboo back-to-back in my rankings. I just don't know which one I want. And to be honest, I don't want either of them. I don't want a running back for my own team. I just don't think they're going to be that productive. But Tyrone Tracy's definitely going to be used as a receiver. I don't like the reports that Scadaboo is going to be the receiving back. Tyrone Tracy was a receiver in college. He's going to be used out of the backfield because he has really good hands.
After I went Tracy, Jalen Warren, Khalil Shakir, the following picks, putting you back up here. I assume none of those guys were really in the range for you. I know you're iffy on Warren and you don't really like targeting the Buffalo receivers.
Yeah, Khalil Shakir, definitely not. Jalen Warren, I was kind of looking at because of the running back still on the board. I have him in the same bucket as Brian Robinson and Travis Etienne. He's going to be on the field a bunch because he's a good pass blocker, which Caleb Johnson's still struggling with. So until that's figured out, Warren's going to be on the field a little bit more. So I'm kind of looking at receiver, running back. I like Brian Robinson. I like ETN. I don't think Team 12 is going to take both of them, so I'm willing to take whichever one falls to me. So I'm looking at tight ends here. Ingram, I have really high, full point PPR. And Njoku, I also have really high. But Tyler Warren's here. He's a mystery bag. He could easily be the Brock Bowers, the Sam Laporta this year, finish top tight end, top 2 tight end. So I'm going to take the high upside with Tyler Warren, take him a round earlier because of the ADP thing. And I'm hoping for a running back on the swing. So I know Tyler Warren's not going to be there with my 9th round pick, that is.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Team 12 also needs a tight end, so there's a chance that they kind of go that route, and they could have taken Warren. They did go Evan Ingram, and then they did take Brian Robinson, putting you back on the clock. One of those running backs did make it to you. So is ETN the pick here?
Yeah, I'm gonna round out. Oh man, Jacoby Myers is a way safer flex play. I'm looking at, like, if I'm locking in a flex play, Myers would be the guy. But I'm so weak on running back with only McCaffrey and Swift, so I've kind of blocked myself into a corner with I need to go running back, because after ETN, there's kind of a huge drop off in my opinion. I don't think the board is that stacked. There's guys like J.K. Dobbins, Javonte Williams, guys I'm not huge on, but I'll take ETN and see. I don't want him to be a starter on my team. Okay. I'm cool with Mason as a bench guy, but to lock him in as a flex guy is too many questions.
Okay, that's a fair approach. All right, I'm back up here. I'm looking at snagging one of my onesie guys. I got a good building approach here with my running backs and my receivers. David Njoku still here. And I've brought up, if Bo Nix had fell to me, Bo Nix ended up going in between our picks here with Jacoby Myers. If Bo Nix had made it here, I would have picked him, paired him up with Cortland Sutton. I would have liked that stack a lot. So I'm not leaning quarterback just because there's a lot of guys I still like. Like, I like Brock Purdy this year. I like Dak Prescott. I like the young guys, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, even Justin Fields, just for his running ability. Whereas David Njoku is really the last of a tier for me at tight end. I have him at tight end 4 in my rankings. And the other guys, like, I like Colston Loveland a lot, but ton of options in Chicago. I like Tucker Kraft as well, but I just think Njoku with Joe Flacco, we've seen it before, how productive Joe Flacco is with David Njoku, and Njoku thrived with Flacco. He won people championships 2 years ago with that. So I am going to go to Njoku. I think he is, like I said, last of a final top tier for tight end for me. So I'm going to take David Njoku here, and hopefully that's the only Browns player I will have to select.
How do you guys feel about the Cleveland offense this year with the question marks at quarterback?
There's a lot of question marks at quarterback.
Yeah, it is. It's risky for sure. It's you don't know who you're gonna get. Like, it could if it's Flacco for the majority of the season. Jerry Jeudy, Njoku, even Cedric Tillman could all have crazy high upsides. But I think once Flacco kind of comes out, for sure, yeah. It's very risky for me. But if Flacco ends up getting benched and Kenny Pickett comes in, or Shadur or Dylan Gabriel, it's not going to be pretty for those guys. Njoku's probably the safest, though.
I actually lean, like, if Joe Flacco ends up losing the job or they move on, like, I think Shadur's probably the best bet for them fantasy-wise. Just because I think Pickett and Gabriel are just more safe options. They're going to just not take shots, where Shadur's not afraid to try to take a shot downfield.
Yeah, no, I would agree to that.
The swagger goes a long way.
He's willing to definitely take risk that Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett aren't. Kenny Pickett would be last easily because you know what you're getting with Kenny Pickett. Yeah, Dylan Gabriel's still a question mark, and Kenny Pickett cannot run an offense. It's horrendous to watch.
Yeah. After I went Njoku, Deebo Samuel, Stephon Diggs, Cam Scatterboot, Jared Goff off the clock. I was kind of hoping Goff would make it back around to me because that's a guy I don't target a lot. Putting Merck up, where are you going here, buddy?
I think we're going to go with Ibuka.
It's a great pick.
All right.
Jennings was another person I was looking at, but I haven't done Ibuka yet, so we'll see how that feels.
We love Ibuka here this year. I think there's a chance he could creep into the wide receiver 2 area, especially if Chris Godwin probably starts the year on PUP. Mike Mike Evans does have injury concerns. He's just always kind of banged up here and there. Whereas like
See, I'm not even
Baker
worried.
Mayfield raves about him. So I like that.
I'm not worried about Evans and Ibuka being on the field. We've seen Baker carry 2 wide receiver twos and
I
ones.
meant more in terms of if Evans is off the field due to injury, Ibuka then is the number one there, and he has the upside then to be a top 15 guy if Evans misses time.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking at it as even if Godwin starts on the pup, that's 4 to 6 weeks. I think Ibuka's so talented. He's going to have his role carved out by the time even Godwin comes back, and then Godwin's going to start slow. So that's another 2 weeks added to the 4 to 6. I think Ibuka's going to cook for the majority of the season. I'm really high on Ibuka.
Tampa Bay's got a lot of deep options for fantasy on the offensive side of the ball. We did a little practice mock, and I drafted all of them. I had Evans, Ibuka, Bucky, and Baker, and Rashad White. After Merck went Ibuka, Cooper Kupp off the board. Cooper Kupp, Olave, Addison. Strange build here for Team 2. Putting K-Dog up back-to-back picks. Where are you looking at here with these two, buddy?
I got fantasy football. I was looking at Kupp was going to be my guy, and then Ibuka was going to be my backup. So those two went back to back right before me. I did make the mistake. I kind of waited on wide receiver a bit with stacking running backs. So I need a guy that's able to fill in for them. I could go the top 2 guys, Godwin and Golden. Pretty different. Obviously you have a bit of a veteran presence. You got the rookie. You don't really know what you're going to get with Golden, but Godwin has that injury kind of concern. So that's a tough one.
Do you consider going with one of the Niners guys here in Jennings or Pearsall? Try to call your shot on that offense.
I have not drafted a single Niners wide receiver this entire mock season, so maybe it's time. Who knows?
Just real quick, if everyone had to pick one Niners receiver, who would it be? Who's going to be the one this year?
Jennings.
You know what? I'll lock it in. That's what I was going to say. So I'll go Jennings.
I'm saying Pearsall.
Okay. Which is a fair assessment. And clearly drafters are seeing it the same way as these guys are literally going back to back with their ADP. Pearsall, he's healthy right now. Jennings is banged up, so that does kind of lean his favor. But I saw last year how good Jennings was with Brock Purdy, and that's just kind of where I lean. But I think there's a chance both guys could be valuable. Who knows? Maybe we're underestimating the same. I love Brock Purdy more than Nick does, so maybe the Niners are looking at a team that can produce fantasy-wise at tight end, running back, and give you 2, low-end wide receiver 2s, high-end flex guys.
Sure. And for my second pick here, I think I'm looking at Kyler Murray because he's one of those guys that could be a cheat code. He is such a rushing upside. So I think I got to go Murray.
Murray definitely gives you that option of high rushing upside.
I'll probably look to pair him with someone in the 11th or 12th round, try to get someone that's a little bit more of a steady quarterback presence than that.
And a nice safe backup option because Murray's not going to be as consistent as you'd want him to be for sure.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. If I ever do draft Kyler Murray, I do like snagging another quarterback. I'm not comfortable with him being the only quarterback on my roster because there's some days where Kyler Murray doesn't want to run the ball. He's a frustrating fantasy asset. Chris Godwin, the pick after putting Merck on the clock.
I'm tempted to wait to see if I can get this guy in the next round. But I got a
pushing
stack
ADP, baby.
right there with CD Lamb. So we're just going to go wait for Dak Prescott. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, the Dak and CD stack won people championships 2 years ago. It can work out flawlessly for you for sure.
Yeah, Nick and I are higher in our rankings with Dak Prescott than consensus. He's going at quarterback 12, 13 range. We both have him in our top 10. When healthy, Dak is really good for fantasy, and there's no run game in Dallas, so it makes sense to target him there, and you got the prime option with CeeDee Lamb with him. Jonnu Smith, Ricky Pearsall, Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, another mucky receiving room, Green Bay. Jaden Reed got the injury. Matthew Golden was actually somebody I was looking at here, try to play that upside game, get someone from that Green Bay offense here. But while I ponder this pick, let's shout out our friends over at Finley Hats. Their hats built for good times and long times. They got a lifetime warranty. So if your hat is damaged or destroyed, they will replace it or repair it absolutely free. They got free shipping across the U.S. Sorry, Merck, you got to pay for shipping if you buy a hat up there in Canada. but they got a ton of cool features, ton of cool designs. They got the Stampede laces. They got a pocket on the inside. You can buy yourself a J holder if that's your shtick. I'm an old man. I was out playing bingo with the old lady yesterday, and I had my shark hat on, which you've seen here on the podcast. It's got a ton of cool designs. I had a guy come up to me. He's like, I really got to compliment you on your hat. And it was like an old guy, too, which was really strange. But they got a ton of cool designs. They have weekly drops every Friday. So check them out over at Finley Hatch. Join the Finley Force in the description of the episode. There will be a link. You can click it and get yourself a nice 15% off your first purchase. So join the Force over at Finley Hats.
We're an international podcast now. We have a Canadian guest.
We are. We're also really big in Mexico. I was looking at the analytics stuff. Like, we have a ton of viewers in Mexico. So, hola.
Ay caramba.
Hi, caramba.
I got to touch up on my Spanish. It's been a long time. I took Spanish in high school. All right. I would have loved if Pearsall or Jennings was here, and then I could have tried to get Purdy on the swing. Try to do a Niners stack there. I still can wait on quarterback. The 4 teams after me, they have one, so I'm going to play that game. I'm comfortable with Henry and Hampton and Tracy at running backs, though. Jordan Mason there is very tempting. I'm going to look at the receiving room real quick, because Jordan Mason might be the guy. Oh, Josh Downs. He's got injury flare-up right now that does worry me because there's no real timetable for his return, and he's a smaller, frail guy. I am just gonna go Jordan Mason and just take the Vikings running back. They do want to run more of a committee. Aaron Jones has been banged up in the past, so I'm just gonna lock into that position if Aaron Jones does get hurt. Jordan Mason is a top 15 guy in my eyes, so I'm gonna take Mason here, sure up my running back room, and call it a day there.
Even if it doesn't like work out 50-50 split, I still think Mason's going to be used a lot in the red zone and be a touchdown guy for Minnesota. And I think you guys are going to be really good, so you're going to score a lot of points.
Yep, and like you said, you're more comfortable with Mason on your bench, and that's where I get to put him there. For me, I put out a curse. Team 10 and Team 9 both go quarterbacks.
Yeah, backup quarterbacks Purdy, off the board.
Justin Herbert. Team 10 going back-to-back quarterback with Nixon Herbert. Interesting approach there. And Purdy to pair with Jaden Daniels. Also interesting there. Computer AI on Sleeper sometimes really questionable, but it does give you that randomness that a home league has, because you never know with like a home league. Putting you on the clock, Nick, where are you leaning at here?
You brought up the Josh Downs injury, and that does concern me because it's a hamstring, so it could just keep flaring up throughout the season. So he would have been my pick here. But the guy under him is Jaden Higgins, and he's another mystery bag, per se. He's a rookie in Houston. He's going to be the number 2 receiver next to Nico Collins. I trust CJ Stroud. He could be a boat, man. Exactly. He was a big body at Iowa State. He can move around well. He moves fast for a guy that's like 6'4", 215. So I'm locking in Jaden Higgins.
Yep, I've brought up my thoughts on Higgins, where like you think Christian Kirk's going to play a lot of slot role. I think they're going to move guys around, and Higgins is going to have his time in the slot and be really productive there in Houston. So I really like that pick. I would have considered him on the swing through and just kept punting quarterback. So a good snag there. Colston Loveland, Josh Downs to follow for Team 12, putting you back on the clock.
Well, K-Dog, if it makes you feel any better, I just got fantasy footballed. Those were the two guys.
Go.
I was comfortable taking Downs on the swing through because it's a little bit later, and I locked in Higgins already. And I would have loved to take the upside on both rookie tight ends. Give me Warren, give me Loveland.
Sure.
I can guarantee one of those is going to be a top 8 tight end this season. I don't know which one it's going to be.
You're comfortable with Downs and Warren on your team? Going both Indianapolis Colts? Okay.
Yeah, no, I would have been cool with that because at this point, Josh Downs is a value. He's the 10th round. He could be a year 3 breakout receiver. The analytics all prove that they used him as a wide receiver 1 last season. Even if it's Danny Jones or Anthony Richardson, I really don't care. I think Downs is a safe option. I don't think he's going to be a huge hit this season. But I think he's more of a safer option now than I had him as a big play kind of guy. But I like him and Warren definitely more than Pittman. I'm kind of out on Pittman. So yeah, like I said, I was going Loveland or Downs. Those guys are both gone. I'm not really huge on the receiver room. I would go Mooney, but he's a little bit banged up. I'm looking at Javonte Williams and J.K. Dobbins. Mooney has no timetable, so it's super risky. So I'm going to look at the top 2 running backs being Javonte Williams and J.K. Dobbins. They're both the number 1 running backs for their respective teams. The Charbonnet's under them. I'm not huge on him. Ramondre just lost his job in the last 2 weeks to Travion Henderson, and that's not even close.
You love that guy.
I do not love Ramondre Stevenson. J.K. Dobbins is going to start the season, obviously, as the RB1, and then R.J. Harvey's going to take it at some point. I don't think that's going to happen with Javonte. I think he's just going to be Dallas's shitty running back all season, so I'm just going to lock in Javonte. I don't like it, but it's a pick in the 10th. It's running back value.
All right, Javonte Williams there for the Cowboys. I mean, hey, if he's puts up any numbers close to Rico Dowdle, you're getting the guy who's pushing 1,000 yards. Rico did that last year for them, just based off volume. Dalton Kincaid, the following pick, and then J.K. Dobbins, who I was hoping made it back to me here to give me a little bit more stability at running back, but that's okay.
Real quick on Javonte. Last season, he played all 17. He finished his RB 30 on 139 attempts.
It's because he had 70 targets.
But exactly, at that he's going to be Dallas's number 1 running back in my eyes. I don't think Jaden Blue is going to be involved. Miles Sanders is not good outside of Philadelphia, so I'm not worried about him, to be honest. So Javonte being RB 30 again is definitely a possibility for the guy.
We touched on that. I'm a little more different. I think all 3 guys are going to be involved. Dallas has no problems using running backs. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Jadon Blue ends up being the guy. How do you 2 feel about the Cowboys running back situation? Like, where do you guys lean? Like, I'm kind of just out. I don't want any of them, but I'm more willing to take a shot on Jadon Blue or Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is absolutely free. He's not being drafted. Jadon Blue goes in like the 12th. So
I more so follow what Nick says. He's okay. I think I'd take Javonte, and then I'm out on the other 2. And just in hopes that they focus on one guy. Because if they have the rotation, then I don't want any of it.
Yeah, I agree.
I would probably lean a little more Javonte because you know what you have, which for better or worse. But then Jadon Blue, I don't hate that. I think that's a good, take a shot around here and see what happens. See your last pick maybe, and hope for the best.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm back up. Still don't have a quarterback, and there's still a lot of quarterbacks I like, and I'm gonna do it again. And I'm gonna risk just not having a quarterback this mock, and I am just embracing the volatility of wide receivers. Rashid Shaheed is here, and he is someone I've been targeting lately. Tyler Shuck, he can chuck the ball, and we've seen Rashid Shaheed's involvement in New Orleans with Derek Carr, or whoever the quarterback is. When Rashid Shaheed's out there, he is targeted. Like, he gets a share close to Chris Olave, and Chris Olave can't stay healthy. So if I'm getting a guy who could just be the deep threat touchdown guy of this team, I'm not worried about Brandon Cooks being there. I like Juwan Johnson, but I again, volatility from him as well, and plus health. Like, all the New Orleans options can't stay healthy, but Rashid Shaheed gives me big playability. Like, if he was Jameson Williams, like if he was in Detroit, we'd be talking about Rashid Shaheed in that same range, same skill set. So I'm going to plug him in here as my bench wide receiver.
Are you worried that it's going to be Spencer Rattler? Because they didn't play together at all.
No, I'm actually not, because I think Rattler can chuck it. I'm worried more with Rattler, but I still think Shaheed gives me the upside to just be one catch for 70 yards and a touchdown. I'm fine with that on my bench. Like, I don't have to force him into my lineup. So I'm interested to see where it goes, but I'm more comfortable with Shuck and Shaheed, but I'm fine with Rattler and Shaheed as well. Charbonnet, Tucker Kraft, CJ Stroud, Michael Pittman to follow, putting Merck back on the clock.
I was really afraid that Team 7 was going to grab Kraft as their tight end. And when they didn't, and they went Charbonnet, I was like, perfect. No one else. I can go Tucker Kraft. And then Team 6 decided did not trust McBride.
Team 6 also has Matthew Golden, too, so they're just rocking Packers passing options.
Looks like Merck's going Kyle Pitts, baby.
Look away when I click this one, but we're going to go Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts!
I don't want to see me draft him, but I'm okay with it.
You didn't see it. You kind of looked away, and now you look at the board, and you're like, oh, I got Kyle Pitts on my team.
Okay, this is okay.
It could work out.
This is all right.
Hey, man,
Hey,
this might be the year.
at the-
Just think about that.
Yeah,
This is
this is the
year.
point of the
Could be
draft
it.
where you take the upside shot. Kyle Pitts gives a ton of upside, so I don't hate that. Brandon Ayuk next. Team 2 is wild with their receiving room. Ayuk, Godwin, Kupp, Olave, Addison, all guys who could miss time.
They got a real safe
And,
JSN at the top.
Yeah, and then K
And then a
Dog
revolving
up
door.
here, back-to-back picks.
I'll definitely need to grab one wide receiver here. I only got 3 on my roster, and I'm not too big on Juwan Jennings, so I'm going to take a guy with high upside. I'm going to go Keon Coleman.
He could be Buffalo's one. That the way he plays,
yeah.
he could be the alpha. He's a dog. I think he's gonna have a huge upgrade from last season for sure. I think he's gonna take some type of jump.
For sure.
Yeah, I like Coleman here a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm eyeing
Yeah,
up
like,
another receiver, but
real quick
I
on the
think I
Kyle
can wait
Pitts
around
thing.
for him.
Real quick, Kyle Pitts used to
Good.
go in like the 6th, the 7th. That's not happening anymore. So at this point, this is the value of Kyle Pitts. He could
Free
take the
upside.
step. Exactly. You're not overspending on him now. And if he doesn't work out, you could easily just cut him and move on. It is what it is. You're not wasting high-end capital on Kyle Pitts anymore.
For sure. But I'm eyeing up a wide receiver. I think that I can wait and make that with my last pick to see what comes back around to me. I said about how I want to pair up Kyler Murray with a guy. I'm going to go with a guy with a high upside. I'm going to go Caleb Williams, see if he can take that next step. I think that's a pretty safe quarterback to pair Murray with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I brought
When
up
you
on the
said-
NFC North episode that Caleb Williams' upside is, top 10 for sure. So, and if
when
everything
he
goes
said
to
he
plan,
wants to pair Kyler Murray with someone, in my head, I'm like, oh, he wants to take a stack. I'm like, he's going to take like Benson or someone. Okay, that's a little weird. And then you said Caleb Williams. I'm like, those guys don't play on the same team, you silly boy.
Oh, man. I
Michael
need the
Wilson.
backup.
Jake Ferguson next. Merck, was that a tight end you were looking at pairing with Kyle Pitts, considering you do also have Dak and CeeDee Lamb, putting you back up on the clock
It
here?
was a name. If he was still available, I probably would have got him here just to have a little more wiggle room. And now
I'm really high on Ferguson this year. I like Ferguson a lot. I think he has a high lower end tight end 1 upside, like tight end 10, tight end 9. I think you finish in that range. After him, though, I look at all these guys that are left as streaming options. Goddard, Zach Ertz, Likely, Henry, Strange. Those guys are all streaming options. I don't think they should be considered a tight end that I'm willing to look at. One of the rookies could be a boat, though.
It could be a boat.
Could be a boat, baby. There's a lot of high-end upside rookie tight ends this year. I like them a lot.
Elijah Arroyo is one of my favorite late round targets.
I like him and Mason Taylor a lot late in drafts, just because they're going to be used a lot in their offenses.
I am kind of stuck as what I want to do here. Marvin Mims is an option. I'm trying to think who else I was just looking at. One of the running backs.
You kind of played the board nicely where you can go anyway. You're pretty deep at running back with Taylor, Williams, Chuba, and Pollard, and you kind of weighted receivers after CD, but you ended up with DK, Ridley, and Buka. I love your receiving crew too. I think your team spanned out really nice.
Yeah.
I don't hate adding the big play upside of Marvin Mims here, because when that stretch run last year in those last 4 games, he was on track for 1,200 yards. Like, if he's on the field, he is used. So I lean towards that he takes over the number 2 job there in Denver. I know Nick feels that they're just kind of going to be there, but I think he is far and away more talented than the other guys in the room not named Cortland Sutton.
If I had to pick one of these receivers,
exactly what I want to do.
My receiver I would pick out of here is Keenan Allen.
Go ahead.
I think he's going to be the number 2 in a really high-powered offense with Justin Herbert. I think he's going to eat up 80 catches this year. He's a really safe PPR option in my eyes.
1 sec here. We are going to go. Yeah, let's go Marvin Mims here. I like that. And then I have a couple long shots for my last pick.
All right, Marvin Mims to Merck. Don't hate that. I'm all in on the Broncos this year. Darnell Mooney to follow. Oh, there goes Ramondre Stevenson, Nick's guy. I know he was hoping for him there. Jordan Love, that one hurts. That's the quarterback I was eyeing down. And then Dallas Goddard,
And Team
the pick to follow.
Team 6 just got a crap luck stack there.
Yeah, and Golden. 3 straight Packers for
Yeah.
Team 6. They also have Patty Mahomes, so that's a smart move. If you're going to draft Patrick Mahomes, find yourself a second quarterback, as he doesn't give you that upside that he used to have. All right, so I do need a quarterback, and Drake May is on the board, and I adore Drake May. I think the Patriots take a step up this year as an offense and a team in general, so I am just going to plug in one of my favorite prospects I've ever scouted and just lock in on that second-year quarterback taking the jump up, and I'll take Drake May here.
You would
To
consider
be
the
my
Lawrence
starting quarterback in the 11th
You would
round.
consider the Lawrence Thomas stack there?
I more, if I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence, I want him as my backup quarterback, so he wouldn't be out
That's
of the
fair.
realm in my last pick here, but he's not someone I'm going to be comfortable going in with as my QB1.
That's fair.
Najee Harris, Nick Chubb to follow, putting Nick up on the clock.
So I talked about Keenan Allen. That's probably gonna be where I lean, just because I have Jaden Higgins, who we talked about as a question mark. He could be anything. He could easily not be as involved as we think. So I also have T. Higgins, who is probably going to miss 2 to 3 games this season, just because he's T. Higgins, and that's how it goes. So I think Keenan Allen's a really safe play this year with Justin Herbert. Trey Harris hasn't been as involved in camp. What's his name?
Quentin Johnston.
Quentin Johnson. I was like, Quentin? That's not his first name. It is. Okay. So yeah, Quentin Johnson, I don't think he's going to be any bit of useful. He's constantly dropping stuff, and that's exactly what Keenan Allen doesn't do. He's such a safe target. Justin Herbert's going to eat him back in LA. So I'm hyped that he's back home. That's where he wanted to be to begin with. He hated his time in Chicago, so I'm very hyped to see him back with the Chargers.
Got a ton of work in Chicago there. Oh, Team 12, just living my dream there. Tank Bigsby and then Jadon Blue to round out their team. Taking 2 nice shots on guys who could see a ton of work in their respective offenses. Nick, where are you leaning here for your final pick of this mock draft?
I'm going to just snag a backup tight end just because I have Tyrell Warren and I just want to have a safe option. Not safe, but high upside option. We talked about all the rookies being Mason Taylor, Arroyo out of Miami. I was very high on him coming out. I'm going to take the tight end that I started in our championship week last season. I was streaming guys. That's Chigakonko. He could easily be the number 2 option in Tennessee behind Calvin Ridley. He's a super athletic tight end. When he's used, he's very involved. And now he's got the best quarterback he's ever had in Cam Ward. So he went on a really big stretch last year, where he was a tight end 2, tight end 3, tight end 5. He went on a huge run where he was seeing 11 targets, 10 targets, 7 targets a game. I think that's going to be pretty much how he's used this season, and he's going to be the number 2 option because it's really just Calvin Ridley and no one else.
All right. Chigakonko. You love to see it. There's a name we don't throw in very often in our
He's just
mock
one
drafts.
of those athletic tight ends. I have a bunch of them guys in the same bucket, like Theo Johnson, Mason Taylor, Arroyo, Chigakonko, Juwan Jennings. They're all high upside. Yeah, Juwan Johnson. I always get that guy's last name wrong. They're all high and upside athletic tight ends, and that's what you want out of your tight ends. You want them to be freak athletes. So I just have them all in the same bucket. So you could either go any of them. Javonte Sanders, another guy in that bucket.
Yeah, Carolina. Yeah.
Carolina's
Rashad
rookie
White,
tight
Trey
end last
Harris
season.
to follow, putting me back up here. I like the build. Usually I don't go 2 quarterbacks, but I like the depth I have at receiver and running back, that I'm comfortable pairing another quarterback here with Drake May, and I'm just going to take a shot on another upside guy, and I'm going to be the homer. I'm going to take J.J. McCarthy. Pair him up nicely with Drake May. Kevin O'Connell's system has been really good for fantasy quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins was a top 10 guy. Josh Dobbs played really well. Nick Mullins had games where he was a QB1, whereas McCarthy, even Sam Darnold last year, was a top 10 quarterback. McCarthy, there's going to be bumps in the road, but there's going to be times that he's going to be really fantasy option that you could stream. matchup base. He's going to have weeks where he is a top 5, top 10 quarterback, and I think he is the perfect pairing here for Drake May. I kind of play two sides where Drake May is the offense in New England, and J.J. McCarthy has the offense around him to be successful. So I like the pairing I have here at quarterback, both upside shots with McCarthy and May, making me really comfortable that I punted it and built a really nice team around that. Tyjae Spears, Trey Benson, Christian Kirk, Justin Fields off the clock, putting Merck up with his final selection.
I seen you pick JJ over Fields.
Being blue,
would you have JJ ranked over Fields in your rankings?
Yes, I have all season.
Okay. I've also made that switch, and I had Fields at quarterback 14, so I moved J.J. McCarthy up to quarterback 14 now. He made a huge jump last night. I texted you about it late last night. It was 1 a.m. I texted you about J.J. McCarthy. I'm like, man, I think I'm in just based off of your system. Everything you said is pretty much what I texted
in a
you.
fever dream.
It's the system he's in. I don't care what quarterback it is. Your system's going to produce a quarterback 1. He's done it with garbage quarterbacks, and now he's got a first-round talent kid, so it's going to click.
Minnesota Gopher legend Max Brosmer has looked really good in preseason for the Vikings. He might be the QB2. Sam Howell and Brett Rippon have been terrible.
Rippon. Yeah, that's a weird situation to be in for a backup quarterback.
Merck, you mentioned Jadon Blue. That would have been a great pick here. Unfortunately, he's off the board, so where's that make you lean?
Yeah, Blue and Bigsby were the two I was looking at for my last pick. I had 3 guys in the queue. This is my last one, and we got a pairing there with the triple stack.
Yeah, you might as well take their quarterback. If you got Ridley, you got Pollard. You definitely believe in that offense, and I believe in Cam Ward as well. Yeah. So,
I actually could say, had J.J. McCarthy not been there, if he would have went in the string of picks after I took May, I was actually going to lean towards Cam Ward over the other quarterbacks on the board, just off the upside number 1 overall pick, and maybe he does make that step for Tennessee and bring them into a competitive situation in a bad division. Bayshall Tootin, Boot Scootin' Tootin, the next pick, putting K-Dog up, final pick of the draft. Who is our Mr. Irrelevant?
Mr. Irrelevant.
Let's get him a jersey.
I always find myself taking him, so I got to go Adam Thielen. The ageless
Adam
wonder.
Thielen.
All right.
Just a really safe wide receiver, especially Carolina. Like, it's a crowded room. But
Bryce
Thielen's
Young
going to eat.
him.
Exactly. He is his safety blanket. Bryce Young is going to use Adam Thielen when he's in a pickle, and that happens pretty often in Carolina, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Thielen, if you're going to project that, I think Thielen, I had Thielen projected close to Tetairoa McMillan. I've since kind of bumped him down a little bit. I think Tet does take the prime targets, but I think Thielen is the clear-cut number 2 here. Legette's going to have his stuff. I like Jalen Coker a lot, but I don't think he sees nearly enough involvement. I actually like that the room's really deep. This is great for Bryce Young, where, I think Bryce Young is a sneaky kind of just stash on your bench streaming option this year, just based off how I think Carolina's going to function as an offense. I think Carolina's a sneaky good team this year for fantasy.
Yeah, I think all those guys are going to have their own specific role except Tet. Tet's going to be used as the alpha wide receiver in that offense. He's going to eat up a target, but I agree that Thielen is the locked-in number 2 receiver in Carolina.
Yeah. All right. Let's run these teams down real quick. K-Dog, you picked first, so from the 1 spot, what's your roster looking like?
Let's see here. Well, quarterback, I got Kyler Murray. Running backs, I'm really, really happy with my running backs, Bucky Irving and Chase Brown. Opted not to go with the triple stack with Burrow, but in a different mock, maybe I'll try to do that in the home league. We'll see if anyone can stop me there. But wide receivers, looking good. I got Jamar Chase. I got Devontae Adams. Adams, again, as long as Stafford starts, I'm super confident in him. If Stafford doesn't start, then I might be scrambling to figure something out there, but I'm assuming Stafford's starting. That's because
Devontae Adams is going to be in jail for beating the shit out of Jimmy Garoppolo because he's his quarterback again.
I honestly believe it'll be Stetson Bennett if Stafford misses an extended time. I think it'll start out Garoppolo, but I do think Stetson Bennett ends up taking over if Stafford misses multiple weeks.
Yeah, for sure. And then I'm rocking with Travis Kelce at tight end. I'm hoping he has a good he has something left in the tank. I think he'll be a vital part of that offense. He's going to have to be when it comes to Rice being out. flex positions, I got Kenneth Walker and Quinshon Judkins. Again, pretty deep at running back. Pretty happy with that. And then my bench, I have Juwan Jennings, Keon Coleman, Caleb Williams, my backup quarterback, and I have Adam Thielen for some depth at the wide receiver position.
Yeah,
I'm pretty happy with the team.
Going so running back heavy there really worked out with you that you have good depth options with Jennings, Coleman, and Thielen if Adams is touch and go, if the quarterback situation isn't up to par in LA, but it also gives you options like Jennings can plug in over Judkins while he kind of builds up to being more NFL ready. Like you've provided yourself options there to move around things while your guys progress in their situations.
For sure.
Merc, you went third. What's your roster looking like, buddy?
We opened up with CeeDee Lamb, and then we paired him with Dak Prescott in the 9th, Jonathan Taylor and Kyron Williams, Chuba Hubbard, and Tony Pollard are my running backs. We have DK Metcalf, Calvin Ridley, Ibuka, and Mims as my receivers. We took a shot at Cam Ward at the end, and then we got everyone's favorite tight end, Kyle Pitts.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if we had an extra round, if we would have done, say, a full league and did 14, 15 rounds, I assume you would have been targeting a second tight end to pair with Kyle Pitts there?
Yeah, absolutely. I was tempted to do that in the 12th, so definitely would have done that.
Yeah, I like your team too. You got the viable pieces in Tennessee and Pollard and Ridley, and then you paired him with Cam Ward, who could take that jump up. We don't know, but he's kind of holding these guys accountable. And being the leader that Tennessee has really lacked on the offensive side. Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams, really good at running backs, give you a good floor and ceiling. Chuba Hubbard, a great player for Carolina. Like I said, I'm a little higher on the Panthers this year. Receiving room, you got good depth after DK and CeeDee Lamb with Ibuka and Marvin Mims, who I'm a big fan of. And Calvin Ridley. I really like how your team turned out as well.
Yeah, both of your teams are like really RB heavy, which I love. I love the RB heavy motto this season. I don't do it every mock this season. This mock obviously is a little bit rough, but
Nick and I opposite. We did not go RB heavy. You guys did, so it worked out. That's sort of maybe just how
K-Dog and I we have a very similar drafting style, so it's tougher being this close together opposed to being spread out.
Trying to stack up those running backs early on.
And sometimes that's also how the board falls. It seems the running backs kind of go in the range where you guys were picking, whereas where Nick and I were sitting towards the end of the draft, it's more running or wide receiver heavy. So my squad looking like a quarterback. I punted the position with my last 2 picks. I got Drake May and JJ McCarthy playing the upside game there from that position. My running backs, I did like how they turned out. Derrick Henry, Amarian Hampton, Tyrone Tracy, Jordan Mason on my bench. I went receiver heavy, though. Brian Thomas Jr., Cortland Sutton, Jamison Williams, Xavier Worthy, Rashid Shaheed at wide receiver. And then at tight end, I did take David Njoku. My team, for the most part, I'm really happy with it, but I am worried that I just have a lot of just upside volatility, dudes. Like my receiving room, it's really Cortland Sutton's good safe play. I think Brian Thomas Jr. leans more safe than being volatile, but who knows in Jacksonville. And then like Worthy, Shaheed, Jamison Williams, all similar style. Like they're, manufactured type players. So it does worry because like there's weeks where they might not be involved based off game script, but I am happy. I think my team has a ton of high upside. I really shot this time instead of trying to find a balance between good floor, good ceiling guys. I have a lot of ceiling guys, and I like the upside that my team potentially brings to the table.
If you want to do the Pokemon evolution game, I would say those 3 guys are an evolution of each other. I would say Jamison Williams is the best of those 3, and then Worthy, and then Shaheed. And that's the order you drafted him in, obviously, but they're all very similar. But I would definitely say Jamison Williams is in a league of his own if we're talking those 3 guys.
Absolutely. He's more proven and better offense as well. Nick, you rounded out the draft at the 11th spot. What's your squad looking like? I'm
the only one that went 1 QB because I went QB early, so it's Jalen Hurts, and that's my onesie QB. I don't need a backup. I'm safe with that. Running back, I went McCaffrey at 111, and then DeAndre Swift, my RB2. So I'm kind of lower on running backs, but ETN I have as a backup and Javonte Williams. So 2 guys that I'm just hoping one of them pans out. I don't need both to hit. Receiver, I got Drake London, T. Higgins, George Pickens, Jaden Higgins, Keenan Allen. So I love my receivers. I love Drake London this year. I love T. Higgins. I think both those guys are wide receiver 1s. George Pickens has high-end wide receiver 2 upsides as well, especially in Dallas with Dak. My tight ends are Tyler Warren, rookie Indianapolis, and then Chigakonko, high upside Tennessee kind of guy. When he's on the field, he's going to be produced, but Tennessee just has to start using him more often. Hopefully they do. They did it last season, so I'm kind of in on Chig.
Yeah, Chig's a good. I do like throwing darts at like your last pick with a tight end, whether it be a Conquo, Mason Taylor, Elijah Arroyo, one of those real athletic guys, Juwan Johnson, all the guys you said when you brought up Chig. So I don't hate that approach, especially with sort of an unknown at tight end with Tyler Warren. Like he could be a boat, but he could also just kind of fizzle out because of the Indianapolis offense, or just, maybe Josh Downs takes the step up and he becomes the one, or Michael Pittman gets back to form, or it's just all Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I think Warren or Loveland, I think one of them guys is going to be a real high upside tight end this year. I was looking to get both, but Team 12 stole Loveland from me.
I have both in my top 12. I have Warren at 9, Loveland at 11. So I'm in the same boat. I think both are going to be great for fantasy this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, K-Dog, you're the Colts fan, though. Let's before we round out, how do you feel about the passing situation there? Like, which Colts do you prefer to target in the passing game? Do you lean Downs or Warren or Pittman?
I think at where they're being drafted, I wouldn't shy away from Downs or Pittman.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, you're just looking for someone that's going to be on the field, and both of those guys will be on the field at least. It'll be a matter of whether they can get the ball to him or not. I think Warren's pretty safe no matter what. I think that the guy, he looks super explosive. He looks fantastic. And Jonathan Taylor, as you guys have said on the podcast, I think he's safe too. I think that he's going to have a great season no matter what. I think I'm out on either quarterback. I think I'm out on literally anything else. I wouldn't be looking to go after Pittman. I wouldn't be looking to go after Downs. But if they fall to you, it's not the worst situation in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm only fine with Anthony Richardson in like 2 QB leagues. If you're starting 2 quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson is fine to put on your bench and hope he booms. If not, you're streaming your backup quarterback position regardless.
Preseason wise, like I've watched a lot of the stuff. He looks okay, but I don't want to be fooled. So we'll see.
He's doing a lot of Anthony Richardson things. It's either a crazy highlight where it looks beautiful and it looks effortless, but then 80% of the time he can't even read a defense. It's so Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, it's tough.
I just need to see more consistency out of the kid. Like, stop making these freak highlights. Sure. Be a good football player.
For sure.
But none of that stuff's going to come if he's not playing. That stuff comes as you grow as a player. So he needs to be out there to do stuff. He's not going to do anything on the bench. Merck, you're also in the boat of a young quarterback. You got Michael Penix. How are you feeling about Penix as a fantasy option this year?
It's a great question. I think I'm excited for him in the football sense. I don't know if I'm super in on him as a fantasy football sense.
Okay. I'm kind of in the same boat. I've brought up Atlanta just as a team whose the defense isn't up to par. Like, they could be this year's Bengals, where the defense is getting scored on a ton and they have to score a ton of points. I'm more in on the Atlanta options, being Drake London. I have him at wide receiver 4 this year, like over Amon-Ra St. Brown, over Puka Nacua, over Nico Collins, over a lot of guys that are going above him. Darnell Mooney, I was also in on before the injury. I have Kyle Pitts as a tight end 1. Like, I'm in on the Atlanta offense, Bijan Robinson as well. Like, I think Atlanta could be this year's Cincinnati in terms of where they're just score a ton of points, and the Falcons' options are the beneficiaries, whereas Penix just ends up being okay for fantasy, more of a stream guy, sort of like Stafford in LA, like that kind of approach where like Stafford's pieces are much better for fantasy football than Matt Stafford himself.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have them in the same bucket as Stafford. They're very similar. They're not going to move at all. They're going to sit in the pocket and just deliver darts down the field. They both have a cannon, and they're both dogs, dude. Penix dealt with a ton of injuries at Washington and played through a bunch. He's got that mentality that Stafford has.
Yeah, he can sling the rock. All right, this was fun. This was a fun little experiment, a little 12-team mock draft with some actual people instead of just Nick and I. So I appreciate you two guys coming on, giving up some time in your day to join us here on the show. Merc, K-Dog, we appreciate it. We appreciate the support as well.
Anytime.
Guys watch and listen to the show. It means the world to us. So thank you for that.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you sooner than 100 episodes.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys are here. We'll have you back in episode 199. We'll have it a little bit sooner next time.
Sounds good. I'll clear my schedule.
Now, hopefully we can just start running mocks on like fantasy season for the next year's podcast and stuff. We're a little late to the game having guests, but episode 100, here going forward. We're happy to have you guys here. Thanks for
All right.
sitting down with us,
Sure.
taking the time. We love you, boys.
That's the Drafted
sure.
Up podcast. You know where to find us. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you watch, listen to your podcast. Like, rate, subscribe, review, share, all that good stuff. We appreciate it. Just search Drafted Up Podcast. We'll be there. Thank you. 100 episodes. We look forward to 100 more.
Hell yeah, dog.
Adios.
Bye,
you guys.
y'all.
Bye, everybody.